Hi, here we are for the second great saga of Greek mythology, the Mycenaeans Saga, Part 1. So, there are some preliminaries to the saga. We have to say that Tantalus, an Asian prince and a son of Zeus, cut up his son Pelops, boiled the pieces, and served them to the gods at a banquet. For this he was excluded for sure from the companionship of the gods and condemned to suffer everlasting thirst and hunger in the underworld. So we have seen many of these horrible dishes served in banquets, and we will see others too. So, but there's the poet Pindar of the 6th century that was doubtful about this, about the banquet especially, and explained Pelops' disappearance by saying that Poseidon loved the boy and took him to the Olympus, and that the other gods sent him back. This is about Pelops. Pelops left Asia then and came to Greece as a suitor for the hand of the beautiful princess Hippodamia, daughter of Henomaus, king of Pisa in the Peloponnesus. To win the bride, a suitor had to defeat the father Henomaus in a chariot race from Pisa to the Isthmus of Corinth. Was very far, taking Hippodamia in his chariot and starting ahead of Henomaus. If Henomaus caught up with him, he would kill the suitor and take Hippodamia back. 13 suitors had failed before Pelops. Pelops prayed to Poseidon, though, and won the race with the gods' help. The scene before the start of the chariot race is the subject of the sculpture on the eastern part of the pediment of the temple of Zeus at Olympia. You remember we talked about it and the cult of Zeus. Olympia is in the area of Pisa, in the Peloponnesus. Here you have in the map Pisa and the location. And so Pelops, after that, returned to Pisa as a king. And after his death, he was honored with a hero cult at Olympia. So this was quite common for heroes to be worshipped more or less as gods. And together with his grandfather Zeus, he received even sacrifices at the Olympic festivals. Do you remember that Olympic festivals were very, very important because dedicated to the father of the gods? He gave his name to the southern part of the Greek mainland, the Peloponnese, that means island of Pelops. Here you have the Mycenaean Saga proper, and in the picture the royal house of the kings of Mycenae. The sons of Pelops were Atreus and Thyestes. In fact, the family of Mycenae is called the royal house of the Atreides. They quarreled, as usual, over the kingship of the city, which, according to the oracle, had been offered to one of the sons of Pelops. Atreus, as the possessor of a golden fleeced ram, claimed the throne. But while Atreus was celebrating his coronation, his wife, Europe, took Thyestes as her lover and gave him the ram. Thyestes so could replace Atreus as a king and drove him into exile. Atreus returned from exile and drove out Thyestes. Something horrible was to happen. He tricked him, so Thyestes, into returning, pretending to be reconciled, and invited him to a banquet. But he killed Thyestes' son and served them up to their father, who ate them. At the sight of this crime, the sun hit and the heavens darkened. Thyestes, from this moment, cursed Atreus and left Mycenae. In his second exile, Thyestes lay with his daughter Pelopia and became father of Aegisthus. He continued the vendetta against the family of Atreus. Here is Agamemnon, who succeeded his father Atreus and ruled Mycenae, the famous Agamemnon, and ruled with Clytemnestra as his queen. To obtain favorable wind for the Greek fleet to sail to Troy, he had to sacrifice his daughter Iphigenia to the goddess Artemis. Let's go back to Artemis stories. If you remember, Artemis punished Agamemnon after he killed a sacred stag in a sacred grove and specially boasted that he was a better hunter than the goddess Artemis. So when the Greek fleet was preparing at Aulis to depart for Troy and begin the Trojan War, Artemis beckoned the winds. In trouble, they called the seer Calchas, who advised Agamemnon that the only way was to appease Artemis to sacrificing his daughter Iphigenia. In another version, Artemis then snatched Iphigenia from the altar and substituted a deer. The earliest known accounts about this are included in Euripides' tragedies Iphigenia at Aulis and Iphigenia in Tauris. Both were Athenian tragedies of the 5th century BCE set in the heroic age. Here you can see where was the region of Tauris, and according to the version of the dramatist, the Taurians worshipped both Artemis and Iphigenia in the temple of Artemis at Tauris. Other variants included Iphigenia's brother Orestes, ordered by Apollo to go to the land of the Tauri, that is Crimea in Ukraine, as you can see in the map, and fetch a wooden statue of Artemis from the temple where Iphigenia was priestess of the goddess. To go on in the story, she saved Orestes from being sacrificed for this to Artemis, and together they returned with the statue to Greece and brought the statue to Brauron in the region of Attica. There, according to Euripides' tragedy Iphigenia in Tauris, Iphigenia then established a temple to Artemis at Brauron, so near Athens, by decree of Athena. So now we stop for the moment and we'll go on with the second part of the Mycenaeans Saga in another video. Ciao ragazzi!